we found that the face of hunger in the US is very different from how we associate hunger in India and other countries.
Because knee-jerk reaction, people are hungry, let's go cook a meal. But hunger comes 3 times a day. So we were looking for something that is sustainable as a solution. So Anna and I started volunteering actively at the local food banks.
So we also give to causes in India, but we don't stop there. We cannot be oblivious to the needs in the land we have made home in.
First of all, we wanted to show our commitment, so we took our check of $100,000 to the CEO of the North Texas Food Bank, which is where we live, and we gave that check to her.
Hello and welcome to a very special podcast series, Unusual Suspects. I'm your host, Gaurav Choudhury. This is a series about unraveling stories of entrepreneurs, investors, and businesses and professionals, and of course, philanthropists who are disruptors, yet not in your face. The disruptions have consistently delivered on the purpose and the mission they've embarked on. Their values are as strong as the mission. Unusual Suspects streams on Earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Moneycontrol.com, and a host of other podcast streaming platforms and directories. Welcome to Season 5 of Catalyzing Change, The Power of Philanthropy, a podcast series by Unusual Suspects, a Moneycontrol podcast in collaboration with GivingPi in this first family-focused philanthropy network. Over the past 4 seasons, Catalyzing Change has explored how philanthropists are stepping up in often overlooked spaces, from mental health and gender equity to animal welfare and the arts. In the last season, for instance, we looked at the future of giving. This season, we turn our attention to one of the most influential global communities, the Indian diaspora. The Indian Philanthropy Report 2025 estimated that in 2024, over 25 million people of Indian origin are living outside the country. Their contributions to business, technology, academia, and the arts are widely recognized. Increasingly so is their role in philanthropy. Diaspora engagement today extends beyond capital. It includes knowledge transfer, advocacy, strategic partnerships, advisory board memberships, and cross-border networks that bridge innovation abroad with development priorities in India. Indian American giving alone was estimated at $4 to $5 billion in 2024, a figure that points not just to scale, but to the evolution of possibility within diaspora philanthropy. In Season 5, we examine how Indian origin change makers abroad are addressing structural challenges from public health and education to food security and livelihoods. And they are doing it through models that are participatory, community-rooted, and deeply personal. This episode focuses on diaspora-led giving that is hands-on, proximate, and sustained. Joining me today are Anna and Raj Asava. In 2017, Anna and Raj founded HungerMitao, a grassroots movement aimed at increasing awareness about the hunger issue in the United States and mobilizing the Indian American community to respond. Since its inception, the movement has enabled 80 plus million meals through food banks across America. At the onset of the pandemic in 2020, they pledged $1 million to Feeding America. Both Anna and Raj are now full-time volunteers, dedicating their time, networks, and resources to tackling food security, while also supporting children's advocacy, literacy, and mentoring initiatives. Anna and Raj, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank
Good
you.
to be here.
Great to be here.
Let's start off with something that is very basic and fundamental, and for the benefit of our listeners and also my own benefit. Tell us something about the movement that you have started, HungerMitao. It's a grassroots movement to address the hunger issue, and hunger is such a fundamental problem. Can you take us back to what moved you from concern about hunger to building something sustained and community-driven? Anna, you may start, and then maybe Raj can weigh in too.
Certainly. So, Gaurav, we've been in the US for the last 50 years. We both gave up our corporate careers I did it in 2009 and Raj joined me in 2010. We were actually both at the peak of our careers, but wanted to do something different, something meaningful. We were in a different stage of life. So we decided to focus on travel, time with family, and intentional philanthropy. At that time, we were deeply engaged with several US and India-based charities. But in 2015, we had an epiphany.
Yes, everything changed in 2015. As we were focusing on philanthropy work on various initiatives like American Heart Association here in America, Pratham and Akshay Patra in India, we were actively involved, giving our time, talent, and treasure to these initiatives. We were shocked to learn that there was massive hunger right here in United States. We were unaware of that. I was having lunch with our local mayor, a quarterly lunch. We just meet up to catch up on the state of the city. And during that lunch, he asked me to sponsor his backpack program. I first thought it was some kind of a marketing gimmick, only to be corrected when the mayor told me that, Raj, this is backpack filled with enough food for a child to last for the weekend. I then inquired. I said, "Oh, that is for the rough neighborhood, downtown areas, etc." And he again corrected me and he said, "No, Raj, I'm talking about schools where your children went, where my children are going." I came home, told my lovely wife about what I heard was that 1 in 4 school going children back in 2015, when they left school on Friday, their next meal was on Monday. Nobody knew what was the situation at home. So these backpacks were for these children so that they can have some nourishment over the weekend. My wife actually struggled with that thought, just like I was struggling. And Anna, you want to talk about your experience when you went and dropped the kids off at school? Because all we saw around here.
We just saw affluence. I mean,
Yeah.
we live in a very affluent community, and it was stunning to learn about hunger here. So, as we dug deep, we found that the face of hunger in the US is very different from how we associate hunger in India and other countries. It's hidden here. It's the working poor just not making enough to make ends meet.
Right. And coming from the corporate world, one of the things we learned, I mean, several things we learned, but one of the things we believed in is that you don't take anything that's said to you at its face value. You have to do your due diligence. So from 2015 to 2017, Anna and I dug deep and did our due diligence to first validate, is it true that almost 20% of the population of America back in 2015 was struggling to put food on the family table? We wanted to validate that. And then we wanted to also look at what is the possible or the best sustained solution to that. Because knee-jerk reaction, people are hungry, let's go cook a meal. But hunger comes 3 times a day. So we were looking for something that is sustainable as a solution. So Anna and I started volunteering actively at the local food banks.
We discovered the Feeding America network of 200 food banks that operate all across the country, covering every zip code. These are professional, transparent, efficient logistics organizations moving excess donated and rescued food to where the need is. We also discovered the lack of engagement of the Indian community, which stunned us actually.
Yeah, I mean, when we were out there volunteering, we didn't see too many people of Indian origin out there volunteering. Few that did come through, they came through their corporations. So we had an idea at that time. First of all, we wanted to show our commitment. So we took our check of $100,000 to the CEO of the North Texas Food Bank, which is where we live. And we gave that check to her. But we did not want to be one and done. So that's when we offered an idea to her that we want to actually raise awareness within the Indian diaspora here in North Texas. And that's when she said,
So we committed 3 years of our lives to full-time doing this,
Yeah.
becoming full-time volunteers and raising awareness within the Indian community, we
Yes.
had seen what the food bank was capable of doing. So we decided we didn't need to start up a grant-making organization.
Right.
Let's just pitch our support behind the food banks.
Yes.
Gaurav?
Yeah, absolutely. Many diaspora philanthropists respond to needs back in India. What made you decide on the give where you live approach? And how have you seen its effects play out since you started in 2017? It's going to be 10 years next year.
So we also give to causes in India, but we don't stop there. We cannot be oblivious to the needs in the land we have made home in. We actually believe in the bloom where you're planted. And that's the only way to integrate. We are known to be, excellent in academics, in professional work. We are also kind of missing from the whole volunteering scene and being engaged in the civic lives.
The whole giving side.
The whole giving side, we see it's nice to see large gifts being given to alma maters and to
Right.
hospitals and seeing the names there. But at a grassroots level, that engagement in a very unified way is what was needed, is what we felt.
Yep.
Absolutely. You have both been full-time business people before you became full-time volunteers, and that's a deliberate choice. What lessons did you carry forward from a business to HungerMitao, and what didn't make the transition with you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. First of all, I wanted to share with you our life mantra, both Anna and I, is boils down to three words. We believe that human life is best lived in three stages: learning, earning, and returning. And it's not just lip service. We really feel that there are different stages in which you focus your energy and resources towards that element. So while we were at the peak of our careers and we could have continued on several more years, maybe a couple more decades, we really felt that we were at that stage when the kids were off of our payroll. They were off, they were done with their college and they were all gainfully employed. And Anna and I looked at what's priority for us in our life. And where, as Anna said in the beginning, three things kind of peaked up. We wanted to make sure that, we go and travel and see this beautiful world that we are in. And we wanted
Right.
to spend quality time with the family members and give back, in an impactful way. So I think we transitioned to the giving side, and we cannot do it part time. Part time we were doing few donations here, few donations there, but we felt to make a meaningful impact, you really have to cut off from the earning side and focus more on the giving side. So that transition was hard. Let me be honest with you. Giving up the paycheck is difficult. Also, not having the department, the resources that you typically have when you're in the corporate world, that was challenging. So we were not able to take those resources with us when we went towards impactful giving. However, what we did take with us and which we used and we found it benefit this movement is strategic planning.
Right.
Rather than just reacting, we were able to actually clearly identify what's our mission, vision, focus, scope, guiding principles, strategic initiatives, and then whole project management discipline, which sometimes is not there in nonprofit sector because it's all volunteer driven. So we were able to bring those two things to the benefit of HungerMitao. And I want to emphasize one important thing. As part of the strategy, we contemplated a variety of models for HungerMitao. But knowing the audience that we were trying to engage, we anticipated that, what is the right model. And the model that we came up with is that we don't want to create yet another nonprofit organization because the food banks already are a nonprofit organization. And secondly, we did not want to touch any money. We wanted to make sure that the donors felt that their hard-earned money goes directly to the cause. So we actually created HungerMitao as a movement to enable, raise awareness and enable Indian diaspora giving.
I'll just add one thing to it, Gaurav. Both of us talk about this often, and we believe that everything we learned in corporate America was a training ground for us to be able to do what we are doing today.
With HungerMitao.
With HungerMitao, we use every skill that we learned in corporate America.
Absolutely. Let's talk about being full-time volunteers. And that's a
Mhm.
deliberate choice, which I believe Anna made before Raj. What prompted the shift, and what does a full-time philanthropy look like in practice?
I only started 1 year before Raj. So I was working in a company called EDS and setting up low cost centers for them around the world. It was sold to HP, and overnight I saw the culture change. There was also this feeling of, okay, how long do we just keep working in corporate America? Let's do something different. So Raj was also traveling a lot. He was the chief strategy officer at Perot Systems, a very demanding job. And so I said, okay, I just want to give up my career and do something different. And I started, and then Raj joined me a year later. And so, as full time volunteers, actually, no 2 days are alike. We have meetings with Feeding America, local food banks. We are always brainstorming on how else to engage the community. We are very creative because HungerMitao is a movement. We have no access to a budget. So we are very creative in our approach, always thinking about, okay, what can move the community? What can activate it? Should we do a little concert? I mean, how do we engage people? We have a very small but powerful team of people who work with us, all volunteers. And so, there's a lot of that conversation. We're also accessible to people who call us out of nowhere now and say, hey, I'm bothered by hunger in my neighborhood. How can I help? So we work with them. There's donor relationship management. We do everything that a charitable organization does, except we are all volunteers and we kind of don't have the appropriate tools,
Right.
but we are going through it.
Yeah, I mean, we are, frankly speaking, putting as many hours, if not more, than we did during the corporate life of ours. However, I will say that it is significantly more fulfilling because we see the impact, we see the results of our efforts, and as Anna mentioned, using all the skill sets. And one specific area that we really take pride in is the creativity side because of again the zero budget. That means you have to be really creative in how to engage the community, knowing the community. I mean, for just a simple example, we have monthly volunteer shifts at the local food bank that's dedicated for the Indian diaspora, and to ensure that hey, you are doing some good work, but also there's no reason why we cannot have fun. So we actually work with the food bank to have Bollywood music playing through the PA system, and few people between breaks actually break out into some Bollywood dances. So again, these are all creativity where the word spreads out, more people hear about it and they want to join in. So we are doing all kinds of crazy things, Gaurav.
And the
Abs-
husband and wife team model works really well for us because we are never off.
Absolutely. Many next gen donors today are inheriting or building wealth very differently. Because there's an ecosystem of advisors, consultants, frameworks, etc. What would you encourage them to hold on to from more participatory models like yours?
So my thought would be, there's philanthropy and then there's engaged philanthropy. I would recommend to all youngsters out there to get engaged in whatever they're doing, do it with heart, join boards, especially the diaspora. I mean, we need to become visible in leadership of nonprofits also. And we bring a great value to them. So, be engaged, do something local, at least something local. That way you can engage your kids in that whole experience. You are not just giving money, you are also giving your heart. I think that is very important. We see that with our kids. And, while everybody believes that education lifts people out of poverty, food is what brings them to the schools. So, there's these local issues. While they may seem like, well, how long will you keep feeding people? Let's lift them out of poverty. Yes, but that food is also needed. Raj?
I will go back to what I had said earlier about my life mantra. At Hunger Mitao, we have everyone from youngsters, teenagers, all the way to seniors who are actively involved, whether it's volunteering, whether it's food drive, or whether they are doing some fundraising, all of that going directly to the food bank. So I emphasize to the youngsters that those who are in their learning stage, I actually encourage them that your focus should be learning at this stage in your life. Because the more you learn, the more you will be able to earn down the road. And the more you earn, the more you have an opportunity to give back. So I tell them that your focus should be learning. However, you need to start to dabble a little bit into the earning side, the returning side, because the roots of that value system is built at an early stage in life. So to the youngsters, I would say, focus on making sure whatever that you have chosen as your study, you are accelerating and you're doing well in that. But start to get involved, whether through volunteering, whether it is doing food drive at school, etc. That's where I think it is important that we don't derail their focus from starting the giving side too early in their life.
Absolutely. And finally, let's talk a little bit, very briefly, about the Indian American diaspora. Recent reports suggest that the Indian American diaspora has made significant strides in its commitment to philanthropy. If you look to the future, how do you see diaspora led giving evolving, and where do you see potential for it to step in over the next decade? Very briefly.
I mean, we ourselves have seen through the HungerMitao journey that the diaspora is becoming more engaged. They like the give where you live model. Their children are saying that is the right thing to do because their children are more connected with the local fabric than they are, at least in, the first generation immigrants. Raj and I both believe very deeply in the value of networks. We could all individually be doing something, but in a foreign country that we have made home, there is a tremendous need and value of collective giving. So take HungerMitao, for example. I mean, today we are able to put a headline up that says the Indian American community has enabled more than 80 million meals. I mean, no joke. Had we all done this individually, this story would not have been possible.
So when you say individually, you mean like the Gujarati Samaj and the
Right.
Tamil Association or the Telugu Association
Exactly.
doing it independently. They
Yeah.
won't have a story to
They
tell.
would not have the story to tell. And in today's political environment, while this is the right thing to do, Gaurav, this is also what is in our best interest. So I think collective giving is needed. The big donors, it's wonderful what they're doing. It puts us in on the horizon. But this collective giving will really be where we can move the needle, right?
That's right. In HungerMitao, we have 4 pillars that we focus on, starting with awareness, raising awareness within the community, and then engaging them in different capacities. Some people want to just come out and learn more, so they want to volunteer. Some people want to do some food drives because that just makes them feel good. And then some people want to donate. The interesting thing we found, Gaurav, is that few people, after the awareness of the hunger issue and how many people are struggling to put food on the family table, few people sign up immediately to get involved in whatever capacity, and few people take their own time, do their due diligence and join in. But more or less what we found is that almost all of them, one way or the other, get involved, roll up their sleeves, and they are engaged. And we are seeing people writing checks for million meals. We have like about a dozen donors from across the country who have committed to raising 1 million meals for the food banks. All the way to people who have given up the Starbucks coffee and said, "Hey, I want to make sure that I can give, let's say, $100 a month." So we are finding the community getting engaged and taking pride in it. Gaurav?
Absolutely. Raj and Anna, thank you so much for sharing your deep insights and perspectives on a range of issues. Thank you so much for taking the time out and drop by to have this conversation with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Really appreciate that and well-conducted session.
Thank you for amplifying our cause and story.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Raj and Anna.